So I suppose for Winchester specifically, yes, house prices are high, that's the purchase price, therefore the rental prices are high, therefore people are spending more of their benefits money on housing.
Winchester is a fantastic place to live. There's lots of wealth here, but it can be a terrible place to be poor. So, people here have all sorts of challenges around housing because the price of housing is very expensive, for instance.
There are some areas within Winchester that people make judgments about, Stanmore being one of them, same as Highcliffe, Week, Hairstock, as they are more deprived areas than, say, Badger's Farm.
Winchester was found to be the best place to live in the UK in 2016 by an annual quality of life study and was 5th place last year. And it doesn't seem to have many issues, but there are problems that the city faces, and it seems to revolve around what area of Winchester you live in.
There are suburbs of Winchester, so Highcliffe is one of the most deprived polling districts in the south of England, and that's right next to St Giles Hill, which is one of the most expensive postcodes in England. So, there's side-by-side, cheek-by-jowl challenges here in Winchester, but the challenges that we've got here are the same as they are everywhere else. Have we got a route to good employment? Have we got a route to good housing?
How do you sort that out, the distance between these two?
I think the way you sort it out is through having an economy that works. Because if you don't have an economy that works for everybody, then it doesn't matter whether you are working at the top end in finance, earning £500,000 a month, or whether you're cleaning the office. Because at the end of the day, then the jobs won't be there. So you've got to have a strong, vibrant economy because that then provides jobs. That's the best route out of poverty. If you have a strong economy, you then have the money to pay for public services, which everybody, rich or poor, relies on. So it all ultimately comes down to strong economy.
Stanmore is an area on the outskirts of the city centre and is sometimes judged badly. Steve Maloney, a youth services manager at the local community centre, has lived in Stanmore his whole life and works closely with young people to help with the problems they may face.
What type of issues would, say, a child be facing here in this part of Winchester or in Winchester as a whole?
Okay, substance misuse, which is on the increase. Mental health, again, more and more young people are being diagnosed with emotional and mental health conditions. Unemployment, education, even issues within their immediate family at home.
Yeah, so Winchester was voted the best place to live. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't say it's a bad place to live. It has its more challenging areas, but same as any location in any country in the world, there's good parts and some not so good parts.
Is there a lot going on? Say if your service wasn't running, is there a lot going on here?
If we weren't running, then there wouldn't be any place for young people to go in Winchester and get support outside of the statutory services. I mean, even the counselling services are really backed up, so they can't see any more young people. And young people need somewhere to go where they can get support or even just hang out with their friends that isn't out on the street corner. Just as soon as you do that, you're labelled.
And did you choose to do this for any specific reason, any experience of your own?
The same now as it was back then. Some of my friends ended up doing drugs, had mental health conditions, decided to go down a different path. I chose not to, so I carried on coming here, started volunteering and paid employment, and a lot of years later I'm still here.
The reasons for Wintonians having the best quality of life in 2016 were that the employment rate was almost 10% more than the national average. The life expectancy for men and women was higher, and the crime rates were among the lowest in the country. At the time, the weekly earnings average was 27% higher than the UK's. But there are people who do suffer with money problems here, and the charity Christians Against Poverty help people get out of debt.
2 of us are trained, but the team I have 20 or 30 volunteers from the church, because getting someone out of debt, yes, it's partly a financial thing, it's partly spreadsheets and bills and calculations, but as much as it is as of that, a lot of it is the head and the heart. Someone has been so knocked around by life, and so it becomes a mental health problem, for example, or I really can't face this today problem. I know I've got to phone the gas company to change the amount I'm paying. I just can't face that call.
They deal with it by isolating.
Sometimes they deal with it by isolating, sometimes they deal with it just by denial. Some people, they just haven't been out. They can't face, because it's become such an emotional battle with them. And every time they meet someone official, in their head, the official person is telling them off. Actually, the official person is trying to help them, but in their head it's, oh, I've got behind on my housing benefit or my rent or something, and so they're just feeling like being crushed by society.
And it's a shame thing as well, because they don't want to be in that situation.
That's right.
So,
they're embarrassed.
So facing anybody who's trying to help them in a way, they're like, I want your help, but I don't want to.
That's right. Yes, and that's partly the British society, isn't it? Yeah. And there's many a client on the first visit, you can just see complete relief in their face that, or in their words, someone's helping them. Somehow this problem is going to go away. They don't know exactly, but they just feel the burden being lifted.
From the people that I met to discuss Winchester's highs and lows, it was acknowledged that the city is a good place to live. There are difficulties, but for people that are suffering, there are services like Christians Against Poverty and the Youth Club in Stanmore to give a chance to those who aren't in a good place and to allow them to enjoy the city of Winchester.